So, given all of those improvements, if Ohio State does not win a championship, does that mean Ryan Day should be fired?
What's up, everybody? Hope your families are doing all right. Welcome back to the Black Buckeye Podcast. I'm your host, Chris. Hey, Kendra, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Doing just fine. What's today's topics? What we talking about today? What we gonna talk about? Get the people today.
All right, let's start with Jim Harbaugh. Okay. He has left the University of Michigan and is going to the NFL to become the
Mhm.
head coach of the LA Chargers. How do you feel about that?
I feel pretty much like how I believe most Buckeye fans feel. Bit disappointed. Um, didn't want him to leave. I wanted to get my lick back. Um, That's just what it is. I wanted to get my lick back. I think a couple things are going on here. One, he finally got his NFL offer that he's been chasing for years. Because I think honestly, the whole thing that he wanted to do was I think he wanted to beat Ohio State. He didn't want to leave without saying that he beat Ohio State. And I think he was trying to go ever since then. My personal opinion. I feel like he was trying to get up out of there. As soon as he beat Ohio State, time time is up. And he had a good record and he had put him in a good place. He just wanted to leave the university better than what he found it. And I think he did that in one instance, and I think he didn't do that in another instance. I mean, when you cheat, he got caught, whether he knew or not, you still at the helm. You gotta pay the price. And so I think he was trying to get out of there as quick as possible once they caught up to him and what he was doing. Um, he was 89 and 25 at the University of Michigan. He was 3-6 in bowl games. Versus Ohio State, he's still below 500. He's 3-5, but yet and still, he beat us the last 3 years. He won two bowl games to win the national championship this year. So he left them better in that aspect, better than what he found them. But they about to get hit with something, some sanctions, some scholarship reductions, something of that nature. But I'm not happy about it, but it's cool. Um, I just wanted to be able to I felt bad for not just for us as fans, but I felt bad for Ryan Day because I know he wanted to get his leg back. But he get the next best thing, man. He go ahead and spank on Michigan one good time. So yeah, it's bittersweet because we always think he's a fucking bum, but it is what it is. I mean, he left, he left. Good luck to him, but not really. So,
I mean, no, not good luck to him. Bad luck to him. I don't feel like he really got any consequences for actions he said he carried out. So bad luck to him, not good luck to him.
I mean, you're right. You're right. I was just trying to be a good person there, but
No,
it's
no thanks. I don't have to be. Bad luck to him.
hey, for the Buckeyes in the comments, they feeling like how Kendra feeling. Nah, fuck that nigga. Bad luck to him. Hope his ass get fired in 2 years or a year.
Boo, hiss, tomatoes, tomatoes. I'm throwing tomatoes. So
Thanks.
you mentioned University of Michigan having like certain sanctions maybe coming upon them. How do you feel that will play out as far as their season upcoming, and how does that impact Ohio State?
Um, I'm not sure how big the punishment is going to be. I'm not sure. It did go to the heart of the integrity of the game when you're doing what you can call a lot of Michigan fans, because I have friends that are Michigan fans. He's just advanced scouting. Well, then how come ain't nobody else doing it? Well, that's your fault. Duh. No, no. If it's against the rules, it's against the rules. You can't sit up here and be like, well, he did. Yeah, all he did. He's a part of it. There's been multiple interviews with players, and they knew that what they was doing. They knew what they was doing. They're trying to get the advantage. And ever since then, things have been different, whether people want to, you know, bring that up or not. I mean, your offense didn't play as well. Even though they won the national championship during the rest of that season, offense didn't play as well. Understandable. But I don't think the punishment is going to be too severe. I think they're probably going to get a scholarship reduction. I think they're going to take away some wins, just like how they did to Ohio State. This is a little bit more severe. They may or may not give them a bowl ban. Um, I doubt if they give them a bowl ban though. But I think they're just going to get some reductions in scholarships and taking like a couple wins away, and that's about it for the most part. I don't think this is going to affect Ohio State at all. Because you know we don't care. I don't care if you're in a bad spot or not. We don't care. I want to hang 100 on these motherfuckers, and that's just what it is.
Do we have any word on who the new head coach for Michigan will be?
I actually just got that breaking news that Sharon Moore, their offensive coordinator, has been named the new head coach for the Michigan Wolverines. So congratulations to him. But it also kind of sucks because now you left holding the bag, my boy. You left holding the bag, and you gotta absorb all that punishment. So whether or not players leave, which feel like most of these players are not going to leave, but words on the street is that USC is trying to get up in there because they had a few players from California and out west. So they're trying to see what they can do if they can pry a couple players away. But I think for the most part, most of their players are going to stay. They're not very highly touted, not a lot of them. But yeah, I mean, that's just basically what's going to happen. Again, we don't give a fuck about their situation as far as whether they're going to be hit with sanctions or not. Period. We just want to whoop that ass.
We just want a W. Yeah.
Period. Period. Point blank. That's all we want.
All right.
Nothing
So
less.
next thing I saw is a lot of people are saying like Ohio State is spending a lot of money on the NIL this year. Um, how do you feel that will play out as far as a national championship?
Okay. So I have to get my feelings out on this. A lot of national media coverage has been going on about as far as, oh, Ohio State's going all in. They're spending all this money on NIL. And then you got, coaches in the SEC posting links and they spent $13 million in NIL and blah, 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 blah. Okay, then you do it then. Ain't you doing the same thing? One. Two, most of the money that went for NIL this year was to retain their own players. But you're making it like we had to take all the SEC Bama players in order to get good. No, we were already going to be, whether people want to admit it or not, or talk about this really, or have a real conversation about what they're actually doing. Most of the NIL money was going to players such as like your Tyreek Williams, Jack Sawyers, JT Tuimoloau, um, uh, uh, Corey Simon, Denzel Burke, people that could have went pro but decided to come back because of different reasons. One, you paying me, and two, I ain't beat Michigan yet. That's a problem for me. I don't like that. I don't want to leave here without getting my gold pants. So that's where most of the majority of the money went. Two, people are not talking about they had 19 players transfer out of this program. You see what I'm saying? That aren't seniors that just left out of the program. So you're retaining a lot of players that could have went to the NFL, decided to come back because they wanted to get a win and they wanted to improve their draft stock. One, that's where most of the money is going. You've got 6 players in the portal. Granted, now just because we are Ohio State, yes, I'm a, I'm gonna be on my shit right now. Just because we Ohio State and we can afford to do these things and get a Caleb Downs who we finished second in his recruitment when he went to Alabama. so he knows the coaching staff, and he's been on campus, so he doesn't have to revisit Ohio State. And you get a Junkins, and you get a Will Howard from Kansas State, and they only got 6 players, and then you got the center from Bama, and then you got the tight end from Ohio, and their NIL collective is better. So the only reason a lot of this stuff is happening is because the opportunity opened up and Nick Saban retired. So therefore, we grabbed their center who was leaving anyway. I think, because he had a bad game and everybody was getting on him. So he was like, all right, I'm out. I ain't got to deal with this shit. I can go somewhere else. Then you had Caleb Downs once Nick Saban retired, whose only reason why he went to Alabama is so he can be coached by the GOAT, Nick Saban. Was like, oh, well, everybody else is leaving. I'm up out of here too. So he entered his name in the portal. He was down to Georgia and Ohio State. Let's keep it real. He chose Ohio State. Period. Then you have the Julian Sand thing. So Julian Sand, everybody that's Ohio State fans for the most part knows what's going on with Julian Sand. He was at Bama. They hired a new coach. New coach got his transfer in from Washington, and he was like, well, more likely than not, I'm not going to play for a while. So let me go ahead and get up on out of here because I'm not his guy. This guy is his guy. So he got up out of there. And just so happens that we hired an offensive coordinator that recruited him to Bama. And so he was like, hey, I'm sure he called him up like, hey, do you got room for me over there? Ohio State like, maybe. Yeah, come on over. But the problem that I had as a Buckeye fan is that you guys make it like, oh, they just spent all this money on NIL on these 6 players, which is just not true. You're framing it as that's the only reason why most of these guys came back. Now, it's a big part of why a lot of these guys came back, but you're framing it as we spent most of the money in the 6 guys that we gave money to at other schools, when that's just not the case. The case is they spent most of their money on guys coming back. Now, does this result in national championship? Like, is this like they have to win a national championship or not? As a Buckeye fan, yeah. I mean, it was that way before we even got the transfers. It is what it is, man. That's the expectation every year. Do we do that every year? No. But that is the expectation. Now we have a 12-team playoff. Now Ryan Day has lost to Michigan 3 times in a row. And I think at this point, he's hired an offensive coordinator so he doesn't have to call plays and he gets a little bit off of his plate. So now he gets to go into the defensive meeting room. He gets to go in the special teams meeting room. He gets to go in the quarterback meeting room, the wide receiver meeting room. He gets to go and do these things and be more of a CEO kind of coach so he can have his hands on everything on the team, which is great, which I agree with. He should not be doing just the offense and coaching just the quarterbacks or just coaching everybody on offense. If he sees something wrong in defense, he can, hey, you do know, if you do this, this is how I'm going to attack you. When he's in the defensive meeting room, like, well, okay, so what do you do if this play is called or this person does this particular thing and it messes up the entire defensive scheme? So I think it's great. Do I think that is this like a championship or a bad season? For most Buckeye fans, they're gonna say yeah, because they feel like we should win with the roster that we were able to retain, the players that we were able to retain to come back that could have went pro, and the players that we brung in from Alabama, Ole Miss. Um, they feel like we should win the national championship. Honestly, we should. We should. But this is football. Things happen. People get hurt. You know, that's just the name of the game. That's the name of the beast. So that's just
Yeah,
how things go.
I see collectively that it looks like Ryan Day and staff are making improvements as far as who's coaching, what players are being retained. I'm sure they're making some adjustments to their actual plays and stuff like that. So, given all of those improvements, if Ohio State does not win a championship, does that mean Ryan Day should be fired?
No. And let me explain it like this. People in the national media um want to say, well, if he don't win a national championship, or people that don't really know or have any affiliation with Ohio State, well, if he doesn't win a national championship, he should get fired. Or if he doesn't advance this far, he should get fired because of the roster that he has, so on and so forth. Um, I don't think the big thing for him is beat Michigan, win all your games, beat Michigan. After that, I believe that most Buckeye fans, they like this. They like, we hands off. Now, what he do from here on out, like in the playoff, how they perform in the playoff, and say they get to the championship game and they lose by a field goal, which is, I mean, or they get to the playoff and they something happens, somebody gets hurt that's a pivotal to the team, and we end up losing. People aren't going to really blame Ryan Day for those things. Now, the depth that we have on defense is amazing. The offense looks great. Quarterback is still the only position that we have a question on. So, other than that, you ready to go. You locked and loaded. It's time to get it in. It's time to get to that action, boss. That's it. Like I said in the first episode. That's what we about. We're about that action. So, if the players do what they're supposed to do, if they train like how they're supposed to train, they improve like they're supposed to improve, or how they say they want to improve, then it shouldn't be no question. Nobody should even touch them until they get to the championship game and play a Georgia or a Texas or somebody like that. And even then, us as Buckeye fans feel like you should still win the game. But if it doesn't turn out that way, that's okay. He ain't gonna go nowhere. He's not going to go anywhere. So all he has to do, honestly, as a Buckeye fan, is really beat Michigan. Doesn't matter who the coach is. Just beat Michigan. And most Buckeye fans is going to be like, hands off, we good. We good here. Now, what you do from here is gravy on said gravy on my potatoes. I'm good.
I like Ryan Day. I like what he's doing outside of the sport itself. I like how he supports his players. I mean, in theory, I'm not there to see it in action, but in theory, it seems like he's doing a lot to ensure the players are whole people and not just players. So I'm a fan of that, and I don't want to see him go right now. I do feel like he should be given some time to redeem himself. So
Yeah, I do feel like that does. I understand what you're saying as far as like the mental health aspect that he brings to the program and what he's starting there. I think that does help players when they go to the next level when they leave Ohio State. And a lot of the stuff that Urban Meyer implemented into like their career days, like career Wednesdays or whatever that he's implemented in the program has been great. I think a lot of that stuff I never knew that they were doing those type of things. So to continue that and then to add on to that with the mental health aspect of sports is awesome. I agree with you there. It is awesome. So um, it's it's a lot of things that he does well. I think it's just that the pressure coaching at the Ohio State University, and like I said, people from Ohio and people that live in Ohio, and most of us that lived in Ohio most of our lives, we feel like we invented the game. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna lie to you. And we know what good football look like. And so he's under an immense amount of pressure, you know, especially thinking back in the history of Ohio State, like the coaches that we've had. We've had Paul Brown as the coach at Ohio State. We've had, you know what I'm saying? Like great coaches. We have Hall of Fame Ohio State coaches. Then the College Football Hall of Fame, they got fired. So he's just under a lot of pressure. That's all. being the head coach at the Ohio State University. Kendra, you got anything else for us today?
That's it. Let's go eat.
All right, I'm with that. OH.
IO.
Buckeye till I die. We see y'all next week. Continue to like, share, and subscribe. Please comment down below. Let us know what you feel about how you feel about the show. And if you want us to hit a topic next week, let us know in them comments down below. Till then, deuce. Buckeye till I die, y'all. Let's go.